What's going on, world? Arcturian Starseed back once again, day 2. Um, just make another. Wanted to make another video, and thanks go out to my Facebook family, fellow Starseeds, and group members, everyone on Facebook, friends, loved ones, everybody that has shown me love. Thank you so much, and for your support. I actually really wasn't gonna make a video today, but yesterday was the first day I actually made a video and started my own channel, so it just behooved me to make one yesterday. And the reason and purpose behind this video, well, just to get right to it, last night, no other differences than any other time or night that I've has ever been. Something very, very significant happened, and it was an experience that it kept my mouth wide open, jaw dropped. I was actually able to go outside. Right outside this door is my balcony. I'll show you guys in a minute. But I go outside from time to time to go out, sit, look at the moon, and just enjoy the air, and just to be out there, get fresh, clean air, during the night. And I always look up at the stars. I love the day and I love the sun because of the light and the energy it gives, and I love the sun, I love the light, but the illumination of the night through the moon and the stars are just beautiful. Now, as I'm gazing, looking at the moon, for the past two and a half, 3 nights, there's been a new moon for the new month, and it's been beautiful. Shines full, shines bright, it lights up the sky, it lights up the night, and I go out there just to look at it in awe and amazement. But as I'm looking at it and looking at the stars, I actually have an app on my phone that's it's a ISS, International Space Satellite Detector, whenever they come by, and I have an astrology map on my phone. And I go outside at night and I find all the different constellations, and I find out where the sun is, on the other side of the world, just different star clusters and planets and constellations. It's fun for me. I love astrology. But like I said, I was just looking up, and I actually found a couple of stars and constellations, and one particular that I actually saw shine very bright, very, very bright. And I like I said, I had my phone and I'm looking up in the sky, and I'm panning around the sky, because it's a 3-dimensional of Earth, of the whole constellations around Earth. And this one particular star I'm looking at is just bright. I'm like, wow, And I start looking at it, and I'm like, wow, it's like pulsating bright white light. And I sat there for at least 5 minutes, and I'm looking back at the moon and the stars, and I look back at it, and I'm paying attention to it. And the most peculiar and odd thing, it shined a bright, brilliant bright blue light. Blue. Man, ooh. I actually started saying, okay, it's just stars twinkle, they flicker, they do that. I understand, I know that. And there are actually people who chart the stars, where they are and where they come from, and alignments and so on and so forth. And I sat out there just looking at it, just you know, just like, wow. And the most amazing thing happened. That same star that I first saw bright, bright white turned blue. And then that same spot, that same light, split into a blue light and a white light. I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. So I'm looking at this like, yeah, this is cool. And I'm looking at it, and so it's got my attention. It's got my full undivided attention, and I'm looking, and it drops down probably significantly a couple, you know, it drops. From the spot I was looking at it, it actually moved. I'm concentrating, looking on this star that I think I'm seeing, and the star actually moved down. So when it moved down, I'm seeing this bright blue light on one side and a bright white light on one side move. So I'm like, wow. Okay. So I'm paying this even more attention. As I do, I see a strong flicker and almost a rotation of the light. Like in the distance, you can actually tell. It's far away, but you can tell when something shines and its beam is turning. You can actually see this, and I'm looking at this, and as it descends down, it curls up in a C formation right back where it was. So I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing, I'm not tripping. I'm not seeing things, and that is when I started to actually strongly pay attention to it. Between the blue and the white light, the bottom of it was a purplish, I don't know, like a purplish reddish color. Now I'm ex-military. I know, planes have to have distinguishable lights, FAA regulations. A red light on this wing, a white light or blue light on this wing, and pulsate or whatnot, and they constantly move. This wasn't on a constant flow. This stayed put. And these lights stayed bright. It looked to me as it was rotating on an axis, and you would see the blue light bright, flicker, turn, you'd see the white light flicker, and from the bottom, the purplish reddish light would glow and engulf it. Now, as I'm looking at this, it's probably 5-10 minutes gone by, and I'm like, okay, I'm not tripping, am I? And I'm like, okay, let me see if I can get somebody. So I go outside, I go get my mother, and I bring her in here, and we get on the balcony, and I'm trying to get her. She's like, well, what is it? And I point to her, I calm down, because at this point I'm kind of skeptical, but very excited and very anxious. I'm pointing up at the specific spot this is, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna be quiet. Let's just look. You see where it is? Let's just look. And as I'm pointing it out to her and keeping my finger at the direction where it's at, the bright lights come together and pull apart again. And she sees this, and she sees the strong flicker in the distinguishing blue light and a white light. And as it did that purplish reddish light at the bottom. Now, she saw this, she's like, oh, and she just, it's probably a star. Stars flicker. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just, watch it. As I said, let's watch it. It not only it descended, it went at a diagonal. As it descended to a certain point, stopped. It went at a diagonal, just slowly crept, and then suddenly came right back down to where it originally was. And I'm quiet, and as soon as I did that, I didn't say anything. My mom's looking at it, and I'm looking at my mother to see her expression, and her eyes and her mouth is like, what is that? I'm like, so I'm not going out of my mind. when energies, when your energy is high and you're at a certain vibration and you're open, like you are not afraid of whatever it could be, and you're open, you will be met with that same peace, that same acceptance and love. Now, I strongly feel that I did see something in the air, in the sky, that both me and my mother could not explain. It was not a plane. We actually saw a plane in the distance, far left, going, flying in the sky. And you can distinguish a straight plane in the night sky, a jet, helicopter. You can mostly identify with real man-made flying machines, aircrafts, however you want to call them. You can kind of distinguish and have a sense of understanding, okay, I really can't see it, but that even has a shape, a silhouette of a plane. This was a orb that started off as a shining white, bright, blinking, pulsating light. And as that pulse was starting with the white light, it pulled itself away and it became a blue light and a white light. And after that whole scenario of it oscillating, it started to pulsate a purplish red light at the bottom. Now, as we're standing out here and we're looking at this, and my phone is on the charger, so I'm like, if I try and get this, if I tell somebody this, they won't believe me. And I go to get my phone and it's on the charger, it's almost dead. And I pull it off the charger anyway, and I start the camera up, and the resolution, that's why I really don't like, I'm gonna upgrade my equipment, people. I'm gonna get a real good high definition camera, no matter how much, what the cost is. And I'm gonna actually start investing into some star tools, telescopes. I've got an astrology map, a physical map that I'm getting, and I'm gonna start investing in this because it's always been an obsession, but I'm needing to pull it to the forefront of my reality and existence. Like I said, we're out there, we're watching this. It's amazing, but we're still like, okay, what could it be? At the same time, we're looking at this thing up in the trees, in the sky. To the far, far left, lower, and clear view. The first light was kind of behind a tree that, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys here in a minute. It was kind of behind a tree. We had to move, but once it got into the clearing, we stood there and watched it. Now, this second star light, but I know it wasn't a star, was to the left and way lower. So it was basically in a full view of sight. A little bit further, but you would think for even a star to be in the sky far away, you can see and distinguish a star. It did the same thing. But this particular light was red, purple, blue, white. And it oscillated, it rotated wherever it was. And not only did this one show the same similarities, this one was a little bit more active. That's just the best word I'm going to put it. It moved rapidly. Now, what I mean by rapidly is it made its appearance, and as it made its appearance, you see the lights, distinguishable lights in a row, not just different places, in a row. So, as we're looking at this, I'm catching another object, and I point that to my mother, and we're looking at that now. And as we're looking at that, it goes behind a tree and shoots up. Now, this is like not in the blink of an eye because we're actually following this, but I'm not going to say it's not humanly possible for something to move that fast because it would take somebody very keen to catch it. but it was fast enough to know, not anything normal or ordinary moves like that. Like I said, it started out, it appeared, it was stationary, these lights, they rotated, they blinked, they shined bright, and not only did it go up, went behind a tree, it passed the tree up to in full view over the tree. So I'm like, I'm like beside myself, and I know my mother's beside herself too, and it's like, what can we say to each other? And she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, okay, I'm just want to look. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm putting out love. If it's what I'm thinking and what I hope